Hey gang, full disclosure, I'm doing this because I hate myself. Hello, my name is William. I've never read Homestuck before because I had things to do, man. I can't get into that shit. But recently, I have had a reason or two to get into it because I have a friend who has been like, do it. And then also, I might as well. It's so ingrained in internet culture at this point, it's kind of difficult to escape. Ingrained in internet culture in the way that if you mention it on some sort of forum or on any sort of social media outlook, somebody will look at you with steel dead eyes for one reason or another and try to rip out your trachea. So it felt important for me to read it. Unfortunately, because Adobe Flash has now been designated a biohazard by all relevant authorities, and Adobe, being the cool company they are, refused to patch it, there's only one real way to see Homestuck, and that's with the unofficial Homestuck collection, which keeps all of the Flash bits and all that shit in one handy-dandy package that actually allows you to read all of it. So, let's start from the top. Homestuck is a fucking strange. How do I explain this? Fuck's sakes. I hate this. Homestuck, you start it, and your first interaction with it is like, what the fuck is this? And it appears to be like almost like it's some sort of choose-your-own-adventure game, except it's not actually. You're just watching a story, and it's just got gamified elements in it. This is initially, at least Act 1's story is about a guy called Zeusmel Poo. No, fucking idiot. It's actually John Egbert, and he's excited because it's his birthday, and he'd ordered a game called Suburb, and all of his online pals are really excited for him. For some reason, there's a tremendous amount of in-jokes and references that literally only Andrew Hussey could understand, and yet he has placed them everywhere in this fucking story, so you're gonna have to get used to that. Also, for some reason, Andrew is very fond of using words that are very long and very strange and sort of outdated by the year 1900. So you're going to have to deal with some fucking strange language, but that's all part of the charm. Just get into it, you fucking slut. You'll notice that basically everything about John's life and every human being in this fucked space is kind of gamified. For some reason, he has an inventory management system with a fucked up codex on language and bullshit. And there's some sort of fun sort of humor to do with the fact that it's fucking antiquated and jank as shit and it ruins his life. Such as an instance where he tries to pick up something, but because of the way that his fucking inventory is managed, it just kicks out the last thing in there, and it breaks his window. It's pretty good. Long story short, the game in question that John is getting is less of a game and more of like a life management tool. It's kind of like The Sims, except it's like, it's in Homestuck, so it's got a bunch of fucking bullshit and shit. John can't initially use the system, but his friend can, so she kind of fucks around with the system a little bit whilst he gets his bearings down and sees if he can actually get full. He wants to assume direct control, if you know what I mean. That's a reference. You know that Homestuck likes references, you fucking disgusting slimes. What's the purpose of the game aside from fucking just being able to Sims your own house? Beats the fuck out of everybody in this story, and yet they install alchemy tables and bullshit like that in the house to figure it out. It's like an ARG, except instead of piecing together internet clues, you're fucking breaking your own walls. To continue making this fucking long story somehow short, long story short, they fucking prototype the kernel sprite and fucking basically the fucking internet goes out and Rose, that's the other friend's name, his house, and so she can't fucking pilot the Sims-like thing, but then she can because she manages to get the roof onto her roof and get the Wi-Fi from her fucking laboratory next door, and then John manages to make a secret apple to stop a fucking meteorite that for some reason is coming towards his house because of the game, except he doesn't actually manage to stop the meteorite and the fucking whole world explodes. Alright, so that was Act 1. Let's list the things that I actually liked. First of all, the animation and music was pretty damn good, actually, and, it's got that sort of specific kind of 2009, 2010 crunch to it that's really pulling on my nostalgic Also, the themes of being a little bit too similar to your parents than you would like to admit it was an endearing one, and also just generally the way that the world is like painted and the aesthetic choices that are used to construct the world of Homestuck are very appealing on the eye. Everything is simultaneously really simple but has a lot of attention to detail that makes every image look really quite like, you know, it's very just it, and it's very fun for the eye. Now I'm going to talk about the shit that I'm skeptical of / didn't enjoy. The main thing is, and I'll be real, this is probably going to be a problem that infects the entirety of this project like a large, like, overly wordy cancer, is that there's just so much fucking horseshit. And I don't mean that in like, how do I put this? You ever read a fucking like essay that's quite academic, but it has all of this fucking horseshit jargon that only particularly wizened individuals would understand? Imagine that, except it's gobbledygook that's only specifically referenced in that specific essay one time, and yet it has all like, how do I, oh my god, basically, it is self-referential all the time. It has all this weird freaking language that makes no sense to anybody who hasn't read this thing before. But how are you supposed to have read this thing before if you've never read this thing before? But how are you supposed to read it if you don't know what any of the words mean? And basically, you just get so, like, your eyes glaze over the amount of stupid long words and concepts that mean nothing but to the creator, and it makes you want to die. Your whippity boops are coming at you real fast, John Egbert, but don't worry, as long as you fucking put your socks into the codex, you'll be okay. Just be careful, because the patriarchal matriarch is coming in and he's gonna eat your fucking wife. Basically, I had an interesting time reading the first act, and I severely hope I can stop glazing over most of the language for the rest of this project. Otherwise, I'll want to stick a dagger into my open mouth. 7 out of 10 will continue reading.